and welcome to the Great at Everything podcast, where we provide awareness, activation, and action plans to help you become great at everything. Everything you are called to and nothing you aren't. I am your host, Maya Wilson, and because the last episode was focused on some practical tips for leading change, I want to give you some tactical tips in this episode to provide you with a strategy that will help you to launch your idea or ideas that you have. I shared in the last episode that we are in a time where there will be a lot of transformation and innovation, and I know that you are called to be a change agent and bring forth some of the change that the world currently lacks. However, I know that as a visionary, as a change agent, it's likely that you get ideas almost effortlessly, but when it comes to implementing them, that's where the frustration starts. If that happens to be you, no worries. What I am going to share will help you create the executable strategy that will jumpstart you on the path towards launching and achieving your goals. If you've been listening to this podcast for any number of episodes, you know that I was previously in corporate America for about 10 and a half years, and I am now currently an entrepreneur. And the information that I'm going to share with you has been used in both settings. So when I was in corporate, I was on a team called Employee Engagement Programs. My manager's name was Carla Wright Jukes, and she is the best manager ever. I don't even care. Even to this day, I still would say that I know that she is probably the best and one of the top managers in all of the company. When I worked with her, we had a reputation for being just the it team. It was only the two of us, and anytime someone needed something done, if it was a new initiative or a new program, people always came to us. Our VP was very visionary, so he would come up with ideas and programs, and he would tell us the details of what he wanted and leave it to us to actually create the executable strategy for it. As I stated, I use it in both areas. So now, even as an entrepreneur, I use these steps. I use these steps to create the Great at Everything podcast. I go through these steps with my clients when they have ideas or programs that they want to launch. So trust me, I hope you have something available to get notes, to be able to write down and do what you need to do in order to turn your ideas into an actual execution map. So with that, I'm going to jump into the first step, which is to capture and clarify the idea. And especially if you have multiple ideas, you want to do this for each one of them. So you're going to write out the idea because you get ideas almost effortlessly, but when you have the idea in your head along with your to-do list, what you need to get from the grocery store, the person you need to text back or call back, all of these things roaming around in your head at the same time is going to overwhelm you. So you need to actually either get out a Word document and type it or do traditional pen to paper and write out the idea. This helps you remove the overwhelm. And especially if you have multiple ideas, once you begin writing for each one, you will start to see the complexity and the hugeness of all of the ideas begin to dissipate. Once you start to capture and clarify the ideas, you need to specify the high-level details. This can be the purpose, the goals, what impact the idea will have, and anything else that you can think of from a very, very high level. Again, you are capturing this information because this will help you to see on paper or on the Word document what is connected versus what is separate. Many times when we have ideas, sometimes it's because they are one in the same. They may seem like they're very separate, but it's something that needs to be combined. However, once you start to look through everything that you are writing down, you can see what looks like it's connected versus what is separate. What is serving the same audience? What is serving the same people group? What are the things that need to be connected versus what is separate? When you begin to clarify and capture the idea, you then start to get a sense for the complexity of what it is going to be. So if you have the multiple ideas, you can start to sense when you're writing out this information What is going to be more complex than another idea? What is the biggest piece of this idea that maybe I don't necessarily have all the information for, so it's going to be way more complex? This is what this step is helping you to determine. It also helps you to determine what and where to start, and what and where should you invest your time, your energy, and your resources as you start to get things out black and white, pen, paper, Word, typing, all of these things. It will help you determine what seems like is the best next step, so you can determine what and where you need to start. It will also help you to gain confidence for what you are doing. Once you have the information clearly before you in a manner that you can read and understand, you start to gain confidence for what it is you are doing. You no longer have it bouncing around in your head, as I stated, with all those different things that are going on. So you just become overwhelmed and confused. Once you have it written out or typed out, you have the confidence, and you need to believe in your idea before others will. Another thing that this step will help you to do is to effectively communicate the intention, the outcome, or anything that is associated with your idea. Remember, you are in a position of leadership, so you need to be able to effectively communicate what it is you are trying to accomplish in order for people to gain buy-in. That's another thing that it helps with. When you're able to clearly communicate and detail what it is you're trying to do, even if it is very, very high level, it helps you gain buy-in if there are others who are involved or will be benefited by the idea. So when you're leading a team or you're leading a group of people and there's a subgroup of leaders within that team, naturally you need leaders to buy in with you before everyone else will. So if you are someone who is a leader of leaders, you need to make sure that you are capturing and clarifying your ideas in order to do all of these things so that your leaders buy in, and then everyone that reports under them will buy in as well. That was step number 1. Capture and clarify the idea. And especially if you have multiple ones, do this for each idea. Step number 2 is to thoroughly plan for each or the one idea that you have. So when you thoroughly start to plan, you need to brainstorm everything you think it will take to launch this idea. It's okay if you leave things out. That's perfectly fine, because the next thing you're going to do is research similar launches to determine if you have gaps. Now, naturally, if you are innovating, this may be something that has never been done before. However, in a small level, you can find something that gives you some type of process or some type of checklist just to make sure that you're checking the boxes. So as I stated, even if you're innovating, still do a little bit of research just to determine if you have any gaps. Now, please do not spend a lot of time researching. This can lead to analysis paralysis and all those different things that come along, especially if you are analytical like I am. Make sure that you're just doing enough research to say, okay, it looks like I'm on the right path. Let me get back to what I'm doing. Let me continue brainstorming. Please do not spend so much time in the research phase that you never move forward. The other piece of thoroughly planning for the idea or for each idea is to create an execution plan for the launch. And your execution plan should have the task, the timelines, and some tracking metrics. So this helps you to have a to-do list for either each idea or for the one idea. So when you have that to-do list, you know sort of the master things that you need to do in order to launch the idea. It helps you also combine similar to-dos. So when you know what tasks are required for you to launch this idea or the multiple ideas, you can start to see what things look similar. What things are the things that I'm probably going to have to go to the post office to do? What are the things that I can do online? What are the things that are going to take me about 5 to 10 minutes to accomplish? What are the things that are going to take me hours to accomplish? So once you have these ideas and this kind of task list, you can start to combine the things that are similar in order to create the plan. Thoroughly planning will also help you to delegate. So if there are things that can be delegated, again, you may be launching something by yourself, you may be on a team, you may actually be working in corporate America, whatever it is, it helps you to delegate. So in whatever situation you may be in, your tasks allow you to see what are the things that can be done by someone else. It does not necessarily require you to do them, and you can pass them off. If it's a situation where you need to hire someone, you can definitely do that because you now have a job description. You now have what task needs to be completed, and you kind of have the steps mapped out, so you can pass that on. You can hire that person and delegate that task without you having to be the person to do it. Thoroughly planning also helps you to have structure. One of the biggest missing pieces out today. And that's in corporate America sometimes, that's in entrepreneurship sometimes, but structure allows you to understand what needs to be done, who does it need to be done by, when does it need to be done, and what are the things in the background that I need to have in place. So if you are launching something that is a major initiative and it's something that will have global impact, it's something that you want to document to a point where if it's repeatable, if it's something you can duplicate, you have the information documented so that it can be reproduced. So your structure is going to really be about having the documentation, having the systems, the tools, and things that can be repeatable in order to help you quickly do what it is you need to do. Thoroughly planning also helps you to stay on track. You remember I told you to do a task list, have some timelines, and when you have all of those pieces together, you can stay on track. You know what needs to be done, when it needs to be done, and again, who is the person that is supposed to be completing it? This helps you avoid a lot of the starting and stopping and the never finishing that happens a lot of times when people go to launch. So that was step number 2. Thoroughly plan. And this is whether you have one idea or multiple. The third step is execute according to your plan or your plans if you have more than one. Your plan from step 2 helps you to have the endurance in this step to see everything through to the end. Remember, I mentioned that a lot of people start and they never finish. However, when you have a plan and you execute according to the plan, it will give you the endurance during those rough moments, during those tough times to continue on and see it through to the end. You can also execute in phases or cycles to avoid overwhelm, burnout, and a lot of the other things that are associated when people launch initiatives. So if you have your plan and you want to break it down into phases or cycles, you can execute in those cycles or in those phases so that you can avoid doing too much, feeling stressed, and all of those things that might come about. Remember, your plan has tasks and timelines, so you can always go back and move out the timeline, adjust the timeline to say, next time before I execute again, maybe I need 2 weeks off. Maybe I need to prolong something for 2 weeks. Whatever it is, it allows you to do that in phases instead of just continuously doing what might seem like it's overwhelming or cause you stress and burnout. During execution, it might be a good idea to get some accountability that can keep you moving forward. I know you are a visionary. I know you are a change agent. So likely you sometimes stay in your head. You like to think and process sometimes. And this piece is really to keep you out of self-sabotage, the self-doubt, and it motivates you to stay on track and finish. Now, as you are executing your goals, your expected outcomes, and the metrics from steps 1 and 2 allow you to track your performance and verify if you are making making the right progress. Executing according to your plan will allow you to stay on track, keep moving forward, and know whether or not you are doing what you said you wanted to do, doing what the plan is telling you to do, and also having some measurements to be able to say and verify that you are on the right track. So those were the 3 steps to launching successfully. Number 1, capture and clarify the idea or ideas. Number 2, thoroughly plan. Number 3, execute according to your plan or plans. I know that it can be hard sometimes to receive all the encouragement to innovate and do something you've never done before. So I hope these steps help you to create a strategy that takes you from the idea into execution. As a change agent, as a visionary, as a leader, sometimes moving beyond the things in your head in order to actually successfully completing them is a major hurdle. So take these steps, get to work, do the things that need to be done, put the things and the processes in place that will help you to execute and launch successfully. Until the next episode, don't just be great. Be great at everything you are called to and nothing you aren't.